Ricky Rose, the time has come. Meech on. February 13th, get your tickets right now. It's going down. We know Florida gonna be there. Miami gonna be there. The legend himself gonna be in the building, making history. Meech, who else coming?
The whole nation. Detroit, St. Louis, California, everybody. Atlanta, Georgia, ATL, stand up.
Woo. We're gonna make history. Get your tickets right. 50, who own your masters? Who own your masters? I buy your masters. You better shut up. I will buy your masters.
This one got the entire hip-hop world buzzing. Word on the street is that Big Meech, the real-life legend behind the BMF, the Black Mafia family, has finally snapped on Rick Ross after learning Ross cut him off completely. Yeah, the same Ross who built half his big boss persona off Meech's legacy. Now Meech is calling him out for being fake, and fans are saying it was long overdue. See, Ross used the BMF name for years to boost his brand, the luxury lifestyle, the street power, the aura of being untouchable. All of that came straight from what Meech represented. But now that Meech is locked up and can't speak for himself, Ross has been moving like that connection never existed. And trust me, Meech's people noticed. Let's take it back. When Rick Ross dropped Blowin' Money Fast in 2010, that record became an anthem. Every club, every block, every speaker in America was blasting it. Ross wore Meech's name like a crown, shouting, "I think I'm Big Meech, Larry Hoover." That one line made him look like the ultimate street boss. Fans swore he and Meech were solid, especially since Meech's brother, Southwest T, showed Ross love back then. But more than a decade later, things look completely different. Reports now say Meech's camp feels Ross used their name, built his fame off it, and never gave anything back.
I want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino, it's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big, I can feel it. I'm just talking,
Recently, letters and messages allegedly coming from inside started circulating, and they all hinted at one thing. Big Meech is done with Rick Ross. Word is, Meech said, "Ross used my life like a mixtape and forgot the real ones behind it." If that's true, that's a heavy shot. Imagine sitting in a cell, watching somebody build an entire empire off your name, your story, your aura, and acting like you never existed. That's exactly the frustration Meech feels right now. Like Ross took the crown, ran with it, and never looked back. As usual, Ross stayed silent. That's his move. When drama comes up, he either posts luxury photos or acts like nothing's happening. But this time, that silence made everything worse. Because 50 Cent jumped in. And when 50 jumps in, you already know it's chaos. He dropped a cold, cryptic line. "You can't steal another man's life and call yourself real." Everybody knew exactly who he was talking about. 50's been waiting to flame Ross for years. And Meech's frustration was the perfect fuel. Suddenly fans started putting the pieces together. Ross stopped mentioning Meech, stopped referencing BMF entirely, even unfollowed people tied to the movement. And when you mix silence with betrayal, that's when the streets start talking loud.
You ever seen anybody confront Rick Ross about you?
Not in person, no. Anytime I'm around, he disappears.
But is there any video of anybody hey, why are you running around with this dude's name?
To really understand why Meech feels betrayed, you gotta look at the history between him and Ross. Back in the mid-2000s, when BMF was still running the streets, Meech was already a legend. Flashy cars, massive parties, looking out for artists before they blew up. That lifestyle shaped a whole generation of rappers, and Ross was one of the first to turn it into a full-blown brand. The boss persona Ross created was straight out of Meech's blueprint. From the Maybachs to the robes to the whole King of the Empire energy, everything screamed BMF influence. And for a while it looked like Ross was paying homage, but things changed when Ross's correctional officer past came to light. Suddenly his authenticity was questioned, and leaning on Meech's name became his lifeline to street credibility. He pushed the BMF energy even harder while Meech was literally fighting for his freedom in court. Meech never called him out publicly, but people close to him say he hoped Ross would eventually give something back, a donation. A shout out to the old BMF members still struggling, something to show respect. But Ross kept it moving. He made millions, built MMG, became a global boss figure, all without acknowledging the people who helped inspire that image.
I feel bad for Lil Meech. I don't feel bad for no grown man on this planet. Like, I'm a grown man. Why the f I gotta feel bad for another grown man? Like, you a grown man too. What you asking for my sympathy for? You be alright.
That's where the tension really started bubbling. When the BMF TV series dropped under 50 Cent's direction, the real story finally came back to life. Raw, unfiltered, and straight from the source. And suddenly fans started asking the question Ross never wanted to hear. If he was so BMF, why isn't he part of this? It didn't take long for that thought to reach Meech's cell. Not long after, whispers leaked out that Meech told his closest people, "He was never one of us. He played the role, but never paid the price." That line spread through the culture like wildfire. And of course, 50 being 50, he poured gasoline on it. On Instagram Live, he laughed and said, Ross thought he was Meech, but the real Meech just woke up. The comments went crazy. Fans said 50 was saying exactly what real ones have felt for years. You can't fake a lifestyle built on another man's struggle. Ross didn't clap back publicly. He never does when 50 jumps in. But insiders say he was heated. People around his camp claim he feels disrespected because he believes he showed Meech love through his music. But here's the thing, love without loyalty doesn't mean much. And from Meech's perspective behind bars, all he sees is everybody cashing in on his legacy. Rappers, producers, brands, everybody eating. Meanwhile, the man who lived the life is still locked down. To Meech, Ross wasn't supposed to just make money off the image. He was supposed to hold it down. Instead, Ross got rich and moved on. And to Meech, that ain't business. That's betrayal.
I wasn't going to address this because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets. But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me. So I'm doing this for my loved ones and the support of my friends and family.
Now this is where the story takes a wild turn, because 50 Cent isn't just reacting, he's plotting. He knows exactly how to flip real-life tension into entertainment gold. The second Meech's frustration hit the blogs, 50 started firing off memes, BMF clips, and one post that said, "Real BMF business." Not the rap remix. The internet lost its mind. Everybody knew who he was lining up in his crosshairs. It was 50 basically saying, "This is the real thing. Stop confusing it with cosplay." Ross tried to stay calm, but his silence started speaking louder than his flexes. He kept dropping mansion pics, exotic animals, and captions like, "Real bosses don't respond." But even that backfired. Fans swarmed the comments saying, "Meech made you," and "Stop flexing another man's blueprint." When the internet smells blood, they don't just attack, they feast. And suddenly, Ross' whole untouchable boss persona was looking shaky. People were finally questioning the foundation. Was he really that guy? Or just borrowing someone else's legacy? Meanwhile, inside the walls, Meech was allegedly sending letters to make sure the truth didn't get twisted. One message reportedly said, "I don't need credit, but I deserve respect." That line shook the whole culture. He's not chasing clout. He just wants what's real. In the streets, respect is currency, and you don't play with that. Then came the online explosion. Podcasts, YouTubers, TikTok commentary, everyone split into sides. Team Meech versus Team Ross. And right on cue, 50 kept adding gasoline. He even hinted he might include Ross in a future BMF episode just to show the difference between acting like a boss and being one. Classic 50, petty, hilarious, and strategic. But Ross took another hit when fans started comparing how 50 supports Meech's family versus Ross. 50 actually checks in with Lil Meech, promotes the show, shows love. Ross? Not a call, not a message, not even a repost. For a man who built part of his image off Meech's name, people called that the ultimate disrespect. The momentum shifted. Hard. Suddenly the streets felt like 50 had been right the whole time. And Ross? Cornered. He can't go at 50 because 50 owns the narrative. He can't deny Meech's words because they carry real street weight. And staying silent makes him look worse. Meanwhile, 50's having the time of his life narrating the whole meltdown. And fans are demanding Ross face the music. No mansion pics, no lion cubs, no boss quotes. They want his words. But knowing Ross, he'll try to let time wash it away. Only problem? 50's not letting this fade. He just did an interview saying, "Everybody wanna be real till it's time to be real." Meech was the original. Ross was just a photocopy. That line went viral instantly. Even major outlets picked it up. Pressure is sky high. Here's Ross' dilemma. If he apologizes, he looks guilty. If he stays quiet, he looks fake. Either way, the damage already hit. The man who once rapped, "I think I'm Big Meech," now looks like he's running from the real one. And 50? Every time Ross posts something, 50 drops a meme to remind the world, you borrowed the boss talk. This whole situation is bigger than rap drama. It's about legacy, respect, authenticity. Big Meech built something that still echoes through the culture. Ross may have borrowed the aura, but you can't fake being real forever. And if the rumors are true, Rick Ross is learning that the hard way. Because when Big Meech speaks, the whole culture listens. And this time, the message wasn't quiet.